Why? 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 Why?
Hey everybody, welcome to I Hate Surprises. This is the first episode of a new show I've added to the channel, and couldn't be titled more perfectly because I honestly do 100% hate surprises. I was always that kid at Christmas time who knew exactly what he was going to get. I knew what was in the presents before I ever opened them. I hate surprise birthday parties. I like to know what's going to happen. I don't want to be caught off guard, and I know that's a boring way to live, but just not a big fan of surprises, and I thought it was the perfect title for this show because when I was trying to think of how do I want to do this or how do I want to structure the show, what it's really built around is movies that either kind of fly under the radar, don't get advertised, aren't distributed widely. Basically, a lot of independent films is what this is going to center itself around. Now, I do see independent films all the time, but, usually I'll come across them because they're either trending on the internet or certain websites, and I know a little bit about them, but I thought I want to be able to find a way to where I can see something that isn't really widely known, or something that I haven't heard about that I'm not gonna be surprised by. Basically, I know what I'm gonna be getting into, and when I go see it, and it's not gonna be anything really that's gonna surprise me. And so I thought, how can I get around that? And what I did is I ran across an app, and it is called Upflix. And what it is it's kind of like a Netflix roulette type of an app. Basically, you can set some filters on it if you want to, or you can just click the spin button, and what it does is it will automatically just kick out a movie or a TV show or whatever that's on Netflix currently for you to watch. And so now I didn't really want TV shows and documentaries. I'm kind of give or take there. I didn't really want to just be pulling any documentary that's on Netflix out of the air in the app. And so what I decided to do is just to take out any mainstream movies that are on Netflix, any TV shows and things like that, was I put a filter on it to just give me independent films in the independent film genre. And I did go ahead and put you can also add in minimum ratings from IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. And so I added in a minimum score of 50 on Rotten Tomatoes too. And that's just kind of seems like the standard everybody goes by these days. And so I thought, I'm going to put that on there just to try and weed out, some of the ones that I just don't want to completely waste my time with. And so I tried that. I gave it a shot. I spun it. And honest to God, the very first one that popped up is the one I'm going to talk about, and if you've seen the thumbnail to this video, you probably know how I felt about it. But this movie, it was called Entertainment. Now, if you've heard of this movie, congratulations, because I had never heard of it before. I looked it up after I'd watched the movie, read a little bit about it. Apparently, critics really liked it. They loved it. Audiences, not so much. Didn't do well at the box office at all. I don't even think it was distributed widely. I fall on the audience side on this one. It was terrible. Now, it was directed by Rick Alverson and written by Rick Alverson and Greg Turkington, and then starred Greg Turkington. It also credits John C. Reilly and Michael Cera, which is probably part of the reason that this even made it onto Netflix, I would have to think, which is actually kind of funny because those two guys are in the movie, I would say, a total... Michael Cera's on it for about 45 seconds. John C. Reilly, maybe just 2 or 3 minutes. But I mean, this was tough to watch. It was uncomfortable, but from what I read afterwards, that was exactly the way it should have made you feel. So I think mission accomplished for the filmmaker and what he wanted me to feel. But watching the movie, this just was not my type of movie. It was boring, it was weird, and again, a lot of people may have loved this movie. I'm just giving you my opinion. So basically what this is about is Greg Turkington plays a middle-aged, or probably about mid-40s, I'm guessing, stand-up comedian, basically. And he is, and not a very good one either, I should say that. He is traveling around, I think it's in California, kind of through the deserts of California, and just playing these real rundown, low class, I guess, basically, hotels or bars or any of these places that'll book him to do his comedy gig. And as you probably saw at the beginning of this video, he has kind of a shtick that he does with it, and some people might find it funny. I couldn't get on board with it. It was not funny at all, but I guess there was something that it was driving for throughout the entire movie. It was kind of working toward. He kept mentioning that he's working on, or he's being invited to a gig at a big celebrity's house. I'm assuming probably in Los Angeles or Hollywood somewhere. There's going to be a lot of celebrities there and singers and that sort of thing. And you see it at the end. I didn't recognize anybody. So if they were a celebrity, somebody that slipped by me, because I didn't, I don't even know if that was the purpose. Again, probably what the problem is that this thing goes way over my head. There's probably much more deeper meaning, and, cinephiles, hardcore, will probably get so much more out of this movie than what I did. But I mean, that's the purpose of the show, basically. It is just showing him go through and perform, and it's painful to watch. He's not funny. A lot of people watching him don't think he's funny. He gets extremely upset anytime anybody heckles him or gets up and tries to leave. He's got a kid that opens for him that does a little clown routine that, honestly, I think they try to make it a point to show that he gets a few more laughs than what main character, whatever, Greg Turkington, I don't even remember what his name is, but the main character of the film. I don't even know if they gave him a name. I think I read that in an article, was that they call him the comedian. So there you go. But there's also a storyline. He's always making a phone call to, I assume, probably an estranged daughter that he has. But you can tell it's always going to voicemail. He's always leaving these voice messages. She never calls back. It never goes anywhere with that. So whether or not she exists, I have no idea. There's a scene in a bathroom where a woman is pregnant that I will probably take months to unsee. Again, it was downright weird. And I did not like this movie at all. It's probably the worst movie I have seen so far this year, which is funny because I literally just saw Wind River last night, and I consider that to be probably the best movie I have seen this year. So it's quite a contrast to see those two in just 2 days like that. But all in all, this is exactly why I hate surprises, because this is the first surprise to pop up on using this app, and the first episode. I'm going to continue this, obviously. I mean, I think this has the possibility to be, fun and exciting for me to do, and hopefully for you to listen to as well. Hear about some of these movies that you may not otherwise ever hear about. Let me know where I'm missing out, because I don't get it. And so I was waiting for John C. Reilly to show up in this movie thinking, okay, it's about a comedian, he's in it, this is where it's going to start to get funny. It really isn't. He plays, I believe, the comedian's cousin, I think, and he's kind of wealthy, he's successful, and it kind of follows that shtick with that, and he never really gets that funny to begin with. Michael Cera, like I said, is in it for about 30 seconds, and it's weird. The comedian goes into, looks like a public bathroom somewhere, and Michael Cera's in there, and I don't know if he's waiting to rob him, to do other things to him. I'm really not sure, but it's one of those moments where I'm just watching it thinking, this is Michael Cera. My 6-year-old son could take him out if he needed to. And so I just, and the comedian kind of hunkered down while this scene was going down, and you don't ever find out what actually happened. So really doesn't matter. There's no payoff in the end, but that's kind of the way this entire movie went. It was uncomfortable to watch, and actually one of the best analogies I can put to it fits perfectly with the show. For me, one of the most uncomfortable things to do in the world is to put on a shirt that maybe comes out of the dryer but isn't completely dry. It's still a little bit wet, or you have a completely dry shirt, but maybe you're putting it on and you're still a little bit wet, or your hair's still dripping a little bit of water, just kind of give you that uncomfortable feeling. That's literally the way his character is when he does his comedy bits. He does this weird comb over with, I don't know if it's hair gel or grease, or if he's just spraying it down with water, but it just looks wet and gross and, like I said, uncomfortable. And to me, that was the entire theme of this movie. And so, again, could have been what they're going for. If it is, fantastic, mission accomplished. Just wasn't my cup of tea. So like I said, if you see this movie, give it a watch, and you enjoyed it or you don't, comment below. Let me know what you thought about it, and I'll be interested to see what anybody else has to say. So the app is Upflix. They're not a sponsor. I just found it today when I was browsing and thought it was kind of a neat idea. Apparently it's been around before. I think it was called Netflix Roulette before. So I don't think it's anything new, but it's new to me, and I just came across it, and I thought, this is going to be a good thing to do to kind of branch me out into some movies that I don't think I would otherwise run across unless they just popped up in front of me randomly.